Okay, so all four of us, we are from Switzerland. We all playing or coaching for Uster. Now we're here in Singapore. Joris, how long have you been playing floorball for, and which teams you're playing for?
I guess now I play for around 10 years floorball. And yes, I play now for Uster as a center, and I started to play floorball in Laupen, my home country. And then after a few years I moved to Uster, yes.
And you're playing now in the highest leagues. Have you played some international games?
Yes, I currently play in the highest men's league. I am also able to play in the under-21s, and till last year I played in the under-19 national team for Switzerland, where we won the silver medal in Friedrichshafen at the World Championship last year.
Jhonan, if you would have to calculate in hours, do you know how many hours you have already been training floorball and playing?
Hard to say, but
how many a week?
How many weeks?
Now, how many hours per week do you play?
How many hours per week? Probably like 15 hours average.
And for how many years have you been doing training?
I started when I was 6 or 7 years old, and I think I play for Uster since I am 8 years old.
And now where are you playing? Which is your current team or teams?
So this is my first season, which I'm able to play for the first team for Uster. Before I trained with them sometimes, but I only played for the under-21s last season. So I hope this season I can also make my first games in the highest league.
Also some national team experiences for you?
Yeah, I have played a few games with the under-19 national team for Switzerland. And next year there will be the under-19 World Championships. And it's also a goal to be there, to play there.
Timon, I've heard you have a similar goal from an international perspective. How would you summarize your floorball experience in Switzerland so far?
Well, my floorball experience is that I play now since I think 11 years, always for the same club in Uster. Also, I play as a defender, and as Jhonan, I could play international games with the under-19 this year, and this and last year. And I'm also hoping that I can take part at the under-19 World Championships next spring in Zurich.
Thank you, guys. So just shortly to myself, I have been coaching over 35 years, mainly in Switzerland, a few years in Australia, once also helped out New Zealand and in India. But I'm happy to be back here in Singapore. That's basically where, for me personally, everything started, 2003, when I was first time at APEC here in Singapore, so really great. For you guys, some of you it's a second time, some of you, Timon, first time. How would you summarize your experience here in Singapore?
Yeah, for me it's quite nice to be here, to come down again, since I really liked the last year where we've been here.
What made it so special?
I mean, it's the combination of this beautiful country, this nice culture, and also playing floorball and see how the other teams on the other side of the world play, and also compete against them or even give them some tips.
Anyone to add something? Your first time here?
Yeah, well, it's my first time, and it's it's an adventure which I really like. It's like when I heard that I can do this stuff and join the Joris and Jhonan here in Singapore, I was very happy, and I was like half a year I was hyped to go here, and now all things are nice here. The city is amazing. And also playing floorball here is nice.
If you look a little bit forward, Jhonan, for you, what is for the other 5 days we are here, or 6 days almost, what is the thing you look forward to most?
I look forward playing against all these Asian teams. Also meeting new people, talking to them after the games, because mostly there are some really nice people, And yeah, it's really nice to get in touch with them. And I'm also looking forward to play against Finnish and Swedish teams, because hopefully these games will be on a really high level. And yeah, we want to win.
Talking about winning, some nations, particularly Singapore, have also been to under-19s. That's maybe more for Joris. During a under-19 World Championship, do you get the chance or even the time to talk to nations like Singapore, Australia, or is that
No, not at all. I guess one reason is that they're playing in another group stage, so most of the time on another place or another venue, so it's quite hard to meet them. And even also the other opponents which are in the same group as you, you don't speak often to them. You're mostly within your team and try to focus on yourself and follow your goals, so you don't have the chance to meet them or see them apart from the games.
From a floorball perspective, Jhonan, you have been here last year, but both of you have been here this weekend, where we have seen several players from different nations. What do you think is the biggest difference in floorball here in Singapore comparing to the sport back home?
Yeah, I think for me the biggest difference is like the game in 5 against 5 is not as advanced as we have it. So the players are technically often pretty good, but sometimes, like on the big field, the different ways of playing between the players, it doesn't always match up, or like the tactical things. But yeah, technically I think they are often pretty good.
Timon, anything from your perspective?
Well, I can just add that I was pretty amazed how good they are. Yeah, I liked playing them, and we joined some exercises, and it was sometimes really hard to keep up with them. So yeah, I was pretty amazed, but as Jhonan says, there are still some difference which they can improve.
Asian food. For us in Switzerland, we're having a lot of cheese and chocolate. It's a bit different. What do you like most so far?
I really like the possibilities to choose between different foods, like from India, from Asia, from Thailand, and so on. So I really like this culture that you're able to choose when you want to eat from which region you want to eat. And since I don't like spicy, it's not often my type, but I found really a lot of good meals that I would recommend to some friends if they come down to Singapore.
Anything to add? Have you tried new things which you haven't tried before?
Yeah, I have tried the stingray. I think all the other types of meat I have already tried in Switzerland, like chicken or duck, and I really liked them. But stingray was a new experience, and I really liked it. Yes, I was amazed how good it was.
Well, for me it's mostly, I'm a very picky eater, and here in Singapore I convinced myself to try all the food, and I was amazed. The food was very good, and maybe I will try some at home as well.
Oh, that would be a big change. To wrap it possibly off, is there something you would still like to see, you have heard should be done in Singapore, but which you haven't seen or hadn't the chance to do?
Probably last time when we went here down to Singapore, we always used Grab, and if there is a chance, I would like to use someday the metro, because I always like to experience the public transports in different countries, and I haven't been to one in Singapore, so I really look forward to experience the public transport down here in Singapore.
Yeah, for me it's also the same. We never tried that last year, I think, and yes, it would be nice to see how it works and how good it is compared to other countries.
Since it's my first time here, I haven't experienced as much as the other two guys, so I would like to go on top of the Marina Bay. I heard that they were already there last year, and it was a pretty amazing experience, as they told me. So I want to do that as well, and some other attractions which I'm really keen on seeing.
So coming back to some of the questions, earlier points raised up. You guys are pretty young and all and not. So how is it like growing up? I believe you all grow up playing floorball. So how is it like growing up while you all play floorball? How is it like as kids? Is it very competitive, or is it like a very fun thing kind of thing, or are you guys in that competitive mindset?
So like all of us went to like at around the age of 12 or 13, we went to like a sports school where you're able to train in young age, a lot of trainings, and you go there also twice in the morning, and this really helps to improve as a floorball player in the young age. And I guess already there we had some competitive trainings, and really everybody wanted to win and followed this goal. So I can say from then on, really, you start to get really competitive and start to invest in your career.
Yeah, for me, it also started early. Also, when I was playing in the streets with my friends, I always wanted to win, and
Hasn't changed.
also in our junior team when we were like 8 or 9 years old. I think since I am 8 years old, I play with Timon and also some other guys which we still play together. And yeah, we pushed each other to get better, and from a young age we played together and always had this competitiveness. And yeah, I think it's something that is also a thing of character. Yes.
Yeah, but I think I can speak for all three guys that it's very competitive, but we just do it because it's fun for us. We wouldn't do it if it wouldn't be fun for us. So really, like the engine of our competitiveness is like the fun we have when we're playing floorball.
I possibly can add as I have two kids of my own, so they started, but on a fun way. They started being 2-3 years old.
Nice.
But also from a federation perspective, I think you only from 11 onwards when you actually count the results. Before you just play, you win or you lose, but no one is recording that. So yes, we are lucky that you can start from a very, very early age in Switzerland.
Yeah, and Switzerland has been, one of the top 4 countries in floorball. So what do you think that makes you guys one of the best?
I think, as I'm almost now playing 39 years this sport, and when I started there was no juniors, so the first year I couldn't play because there was no league, and then for the next 2 years I had to play on a different name, so that because I still was too young, and I was with 14, 15. Nowadays that's different. I think one reason is definitely that we were one of the first nations at all. And the second reason is basically it is well established at school as a school sport, and this definitely helps. Almost every kid nowadays gets exposed to the sport, and this just helps to grow a certain base or numbers.
Right. And you did mention that when you start from the earlier ages, it's more like not really counting the loss and wins. So do you guys have like youth leagues kind of stuff? Like, what's the age group like?
Yes, we have F juniors. This is starting, I think, officially from 5 to 8 or 6 to 8. So that's the youngest. And those events or those tournaments are not organized by the federation. They initiatives from clubs. So in the whole region, and then the clubs they can invite it, and they get and they meet at certain days. And then I think it's E juniors. This is organized by the federation, and this is then this is actually 8 to 10, and now from 10 to 12 is the juniors. So, and this is on small fields. So there we play 3 against 3,
Even until the 19th.
Yes, and then only usually at the moment from 12, 13 years onwards, you change to a category which is on full court, 5 against 5.
Ah.
So that's somewhere there in this age group where we switch in Switzerland. At the moment, there are plans for changing things in coming from 2025 onwards, but at the moment, yes, it's just having fun. It's called floorball school, and but as it is in the free time, it's not part of the school.
Right. And do you guys, the three of you, play in those lower leagues? Or
I started at level D, I guess, like D juniors, and pretty soon I had the chance to go to under 14 and under 16 in my home club
no.
to get more trainings and stuff like that. And then when I switched to Uster, I was 13, I guess, and played in the U14 and also under 16. And then from there on I climbed up the ladder to from U14, U16, U21, and now the men's team. Yes.
Nice. And
Yeah, for me it's almost the same, but I started at level E at my home club, and then I went to Uster pretty early with 8 years old because I wanted to have more trainings, and also I knew some players there. Yes, and then I played in all different youth categories.
Yes, I think when we started, all three of us, there wasn't an F category. This established some years later. So, like Jhonan and myself, we started in the youngest category there was, and yeah, afterwards I think we played 2 years of E, 2 years of D, and then all the categories on the big field for another 2 years until we're now officially from the age group in our first year of under 21.
right. And when you guys mentioned you guys joined Uster from your home clubs, are they like do you guys come from further parts of Switzerland, or how? Because Switzerland is kind of big, so
Yeah, Switzerland isn't that big compared to other countries.
Yeah, true.
But I live like with the car. I have 10 minutes to Uster, to the hall where we train, so it's quite close. It's really the village besides Uster, but I think the other two guys live a bit further away.
Yeah, for me I also live like 10 minutes away with the car, and I just started at the hometown so I can walk to the training. The hall was like 2 minutes away, but then I could go by bus to Uster, so that was not a problem.
Yeah, from my side I have a bit longer journey. By train I have around an hour, so I really need to get up early if I have trainings in the morning. But since I changed to Uster at an age of around 13, I'm really getting used to it, and it's normal for me now. It's part of my daily routine, so I'm used to it now.
Yeah, okay, but now for the coach point of view. So how long is one typical Prime League season?
The highest league plays from mid-September till definitely end of February. That's the regular season. And then March and April we have the playoffs and the playouts. And so somewhere towards the end of April is the super final, where the two teams which are in the final, they have one single game, and where they determine who will be the Swiss champion. And then usually May is off, and then June, July, August is pre-season training.
Alright, so yeah, it looks like it's pretty one whole year round. So do you think there's a issue with burnout? Because like if you guys play from young, do you guys find yourself playing too much floorball?
I think there's two sides to view it. One is in the young age, and one is like being a coach for many years, but also being a father. But I still think if technically there could be a burnout, but I don't think that's really an issue. And if it's an issue, then it's really badly handled by club or and coaches' parents possibly. I mean, yes, sometimes if you feel tired and you need a break, then have that break. Personally, I find also important that you don't play 365 days floorball, not from a physical perspective, but more from a mental.
So from the Switzerland's point of view, do you think that it's a healthy point of amount of floorball? Yeah.
Yes, I believe there is. If you not compete on the highest possible level, then it's called like a recreational sport, or we call it a recreational sport. And I think if you move and if you have fun with your friends, then that's healthy for physical and for mental reasons. I mean, we probably could discuss the whole evening if a high performance sport is a healthy thing or not. But I think those guys are pretty fit mentally and physically. And you heard yourself, they often talked about enjoying and having fun. So I think, as I said, no problem. In Switzerland, usually May is pretty much not going on. Almost everything is off. But how do you feel it?
Yeah, I can also say that. I mean, it's the most intense part of the season at the end, probably mostly, since you play playoffs or play down. So there you really only play floorball then, and you're really focused on it. And then afterwards, I really enjoy it if you have a few days off and you can clear your head and do anything you want, or just do something else than floorball. But like around a month later, so I already miss it. So I really like to start over again and do the hard training in the summer to be prepared for the next season. So yes.
Nice. Then do you guys get opportunities like this? Because you mentioned here you get to play with the Swedish and the Finnish. So are there much opportunities in Switzerland to play against or with the teams from the other countries?
Well, there are not opportunities like in Switzerland, but we go to some preparation tournaments. For example, this year we go to Umeå. This is in Sweden. And then we will play against, I think, 3 different Swedish teams. And also Jhonan and I will go next week. We will go to Prague to a tournament. And then we will play against some Czech, some Swedish, and I don't know, maybe even some Finnish teams.
Nice.
And they also, of course, pretty lucky as they can play international floorball, so for the national team. And I think, at least for myself, when I was coaching the international games, it's every single time a highlight. It doesn't matter how often you've done it, it's always a highlight. And so yeah, that's really cool. And I think comparing Europe to Asia is of course also advantage. We have now so many countries, and as he said, we arrive on Monday. On Tuesday he's leaving to Czech Republic, 8-hour travels, and he's in the next county for the next tournament. And this is a bit more difficult or challenging in Asia, because there is no other tournaments, and if you go to another country, you need usually a plane to get somewhere.
Yeah, and okay, so you did mention in some ways the style of playing is a little bit different. So you did notice that the style of playing may be a bit different. How do you bridge the gap? How do you think it's how do other countries come up in terms of that styles of play? And that's kind of what I'm.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest difference from my view is that there aren't that good coaches like with the experience that we have in our countries. That's probably a reason. And what I also think is that the level of professionality is getting better and better, but isn't yet there where we have it in Switzerland or Sweden and Finland. So that could be one of the reasons, I guess.
I think the question you have mentioned here is a question which is asked almost weekly from a worldwide development perspective. And as I said, I'm luckily also around on international level. And I think there's no one solution. It must be a mixture of the sport is important enough that players in the home country is committing to it, meaning we have heard how much those guys are training, so they must be willing to come to 2, 3, maybe later 4, 5, 6 trainings a week. So that's one thing. At the same time, the trainings must be good, meaning at the beginning maybe some coaches from Europe need to, ideally should be in that country, but again then there's the financing or funding issue, who is paying them, and who can convince his family to move for 1-2 years to another country. There's plenty of questions. So this, and then last but not least, I'm heavily convinced that all the countries outside Europe, it doesn't matter which continent, as Europe at the moment is so much in the forefront, that they need to have also games against Europe. So the Singapore Floorball Open, I think, is an ideal initiative, or I call it private initiative, from an organization to help grow the sport, to help develop the sport. And so that's why, we were here last year when we got asked again, are you coming back? I think no one had really more than 2 seconds to say yes, of course we are back. So I really think this can become even a more important piece of the puzzle to develop the sport in this region. There's still a lot of homework which we have to do. We have, the boys also mentioned, the coaches, the players, but we also have referees.
Yeah.
We have the officials. One day, if you come in and you have no training venue, then it doesn't help if everyone wants to come. But if you can't train somewhere, then so there's everything. It's not just the coaches or the players which have to get better. It's also the referees. It's the whole environment, the facilities, the clubs, and so it's a big ask, a big task. And but I think, as I said, this tournament here is an important piece of this big puzzle.
Yeah, and I agree. And okay, so I guess that was a very good reply. I like that. And hopefully we see you guys again next year. Again.
Thank you very much for having us.
Any last words? Any? Okay. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.